What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel Sports, Life, and Politics TV. Today is January 24th. I'm Samuel Koppel, and I'm here for the news. And in the past few days, there's been several mass shootings. And in a lot of these mass shootings, I've said in all the videos that I've covered that they're ritualistic in nature. And sometimes people, they don't believe it. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I think people are starting to come around and starting to realize that all these things are just coincidence. As you can see on the screen right now, we have the Lunar New Year Massacre, which took place in Southern California at an Asian dance hall. I don't know if it was an Asian dance hall. I know it was owned by Asian people, and looked like it was frequented by mostly Asian people. I think it's an Asian community, if I'm not mistaken. And look at the words they use: Lunar New Year Massacre. That's why I say, when I say things are ritualistic, that's because they are. That don't mean every single mass shooting is ritualistic, but in today's society, majority of them are. And then there was another shooting in Northern California, not too far from San Francisco. If you can't see the correlation in this, you got to be batshit crazy, nuts, blind, dumb, and deaf. In Half Moon Bay, there was 7 people killed. So the Lunar New Year, so I would assume most people know what lunar means. It just means the moon. And in Half Moon Bay in Northern California, 7 people were killed. Now, both of these mass shootings come from older Asian gentlemen. Why are older Asian gentlemen doing mass shootings at this point? I have no idea, but this is not the first one. There was another one recently in Southern California of a mass shooting in an older Asian gentleman. And it lets you know when you have too many coincidences that something is being plotted or something's on purpose or something is obviously somebody's conspiring these things and making these things happen. Just look at it again. Lunar New Year Massacre. The Moon New Year in Half Moon Bay. You might say that's a coincidence. Some people call it luck. Some people call it perfect timing. But let's take a look at this first clip.
It is a night of high emotions here with this candlelight vigil, all playing out right in front of City Hall. Hundreds show up. The vigil itself lasts for almost 2 hours. You saw some of the candles and flowers over there at the site of the ballroom, the site of the tragedy itself. This has really become what the city's calling the official memorial set up to the victims and their families. And then you have this vigil with the hugs, the tears, and prayers. Watch.
For I sought the Lord, and he answered.
And let me say this while I'm looking at this video, because I remember this man when I covered the nightclub shooting in Colorado. It was a gay nightclub shooting, and come to find out the man who did the shooting was also a homosexual. But they took this video down. I don't know exactly why they took the video down, but they said it was, something about YouTube policy. But in the video, I said that why is it when it's a gay nightclub shooting does all these people come out in the gay community when there's all type of mass shootings that has nothing to do with people's sexual orientation? To me, it's all equal across the board. It should be anyway. If you come out for one, you should come out for another. You know what I mean? It shouldn't just be, gay people are under attack. No, everybody in the United States at this point are under attack. It's not just gays. It's not just blacks. It's not just Asians. Everybody's under attack. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can become a victim.
And he delivered me from all my troubles.
Prayers for Monterey Park, a community now brought to tears by a mass shooting.
I'm very heartbroken because our community always gets together to dance in the park. We have a lot of dance studios, and it's sad because it could have been any of them. I just think about how a lot of people lost their grandparents or their aunts, and it's just it touches just anybody.
Candles light up the darkness at this vigil outside City Hall, where flags fly low. Much like the feelings of so many here, hurting from a tragedy they all say hits way too close to home.
Daddy, Mommy, are you okay? Are you in the party? It's very sad. Your kids have to wonder whether your parents are okay.
And remember they had this, there was this whole big thing about Asian hate. And yes, there are some people who were harming Asian people generally because they were Asian, but overall, sometimes there's just acts of violence and a person just so happened to be Asian. That's not Asian hate. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's random acts of violence. A person might be mentally disturbed, or a person might be going through something and have a mental breakdown, and they harm the closest, nearest person to them. And that's what was confusing me about the whole Asian hate thing. And both of these mass shooters were Asian men, so they can't say that. And I guarantee you, if it would have been a man of another color, say he was black, Mexican, white, and he shot the Asian people, it'd have been Asian hate. But sometimes we stay in a violent country, we stay in a violent world, and random people are getting hurt now. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, God help you.
She and her children once danced at the Star Ballroom Studio, the site of the tragedy, while others think about those who narrowly escaped the gunfire.
It's heartwarming to see the community come together tonight, and we're definitely all in this together. And my heart goes out to the victims and their families.
The vigil right near this memorial, growing seemingly by the very hour since the deadly shooting, with many leaving their marks of condolence to the victims and their families.
Share our feeling with the family. I know they are very tough at this time, and hope that they are comforted.
For many here, it is a night to share the emotions of the tragedy, turning one of the happiest times, the Lunar New Year, into a nightmare.
At times I have nightmare last, 36 hours, in and out, sadness and joy, and it's very difficult.
But still they stand together, united, with a vow to help each other heal. As it says on this cross to the victims, see it? It says, dance in heaven.
This is gonna take some time, yes, but I'm sure that with all the community getting together, we're all gonna hang out together.
But, prayers to all those people and their families. I'm pretty sure this is a difficult time. But a lot of these shootings are because they want these guns off the street. And like I say, it's ritualistic in nature. And there's a lot of duality in it where it's ritualistic, but it's also to get guns off the street. Because a lot of times it's AR-15s. This one was a MAC-10. And they have a little bit of surveillance footage of the guy, the Asian man went into another establishment trying to shoot somebody and went to cock the weapon, and another young Asian gentleman actually wrestled the gun from him. Let's take a look. CNN, fair use. I'm just using a few minutes of this video for educational purposes only. Fair use.
Or pictures of a hero taking a mass murderer's gun away, confronting, grappling with him, and disarming someone who had just moments before shot and fatally wounded 11 people at another location and was about to do the same again Saturday night at a ballroom and dance studio in Alhambra, California, just outside Los Angeles, that Brandon Tsai and his family run. The video is slowed down somewhat. The man in the frame is the 72-year-old mass killer who had already carried out a mass shooting at another ballroom in nearby Monterey Park.
And they did find this man of apparent suicide in a van somewhere. He had killed himself, allegedly. We don't know. You never get no answers on a lot of these circumstances because a lot of times these people end up dead. We never get to see what he was into with social media or his computer search history, who he's in communication with, had he been in mental institutions, who was his doctors, what kind of medication was he on. And, you never get none of that type of stuff, man. It just kind of goes on to the next mass shooting.
Now, the weapon he's carrying, according to authorities, is a 9mm Ingram MAC-10 semi-automatic with what appears to be a suppressor or silencer, which authorities say he'd been making at home. Brandon Tsai tells us he heard sounds, metal on metal noises, and you can see the shooter pulling back on the weapon. And then, for a few seconds, he withdraws into the doorway as if to look around, at which point, seconds later, you see Brandon there, entering and confronting the man, his arms outstretched, reaching for the man, and then the weapon.
And this not the first. I gotta give some of these Asian dudes credit. Some of these Asian dudes got a lot of bravery in them, man. They had a robbery here in Las Vegas. It wasn't like an armed robbery, but it was two masked young white males. They came into like a smoke shop, and they went in there to start stealing this stuff. And one man tried to distract them and reached over the counter. The other man jumped behind the counter, and that man pulled out a knife, young Asian man, and got to stabbing that man up like it was. I thought I was watching goddamn Jason Voorhees, goddamn Michael Myers. And he just went to work. This took a lot of bravery to reach for a gun, and you don't have anything in your hand.
The struggle then moves into the doorway just outside that room. We're just seeing this for the first time. You've never seen this video before. Brandon will describe in a moment just what was happening, what he was doing and thinking in the seconds that we see and what we don't see. Again, the killer has a MAC-10, apparently a suppressor in stock. He'd already killed 10 people. An 11th victim died today, and he might have taken many more lives had the scene we're watching played out otherwise. Had Brandon not gotten the gun and driven the gunman who later took his own life away.
And as you can see, they say he took his own life. They say that immediately without a full, thorough investigation. That's how you know a lot of times when things are ritualistic, when they come up with answers immediately, you need to do a full investigation. Check all surrounding cameras. Sweep for all the evidence before you say somebody killed themselves. He could have been in cahoots with somebody else, but obviously they don't care about that. Somebody higher up already kind of would assume to know. This is alleged now, alleged. But, anytime they come up with answers that quick and say, oh, well, he just killed himself. Okay. Sounds good. But I'm not. But in that gun, by the way, as you can see, the MAC-10 with that huge suppressor on it, it almost look homemade. If it ain't homemade, it's extremely old, but still effective. I'm not going to use too much of CNN video. If you want to watch the whole video, you can go on the CNN YouTube page and you can watch the whole thing. Now, we have this guy right here, the Half Moon Bay shooting suspect. He killed 7 people. I think he shot 8. Let's take a look at this clip.
Kick Killer's Pedro Rivera is live in the news center where he has been following this breaking story. Pedro.
Yeah, Mike and Cher, we actually just got new information into our newsroom that there was possibly another mass shooting that occurred, this time in Oakland, California. 8 victims were shot. 1 person is dead. All the victims transported themselves to the hospital. It was possibly a shootout between 2 groups. We're waiting for more details to come into our newsroom, but it just seems like this is happening every day as Southern California is still reeling from its massacre in Monterey Park. Tragedy struck in Half Moon Bay this afternoon. It's in Northern California beach town, which has a rather large farming community and sits about 30 miles south of San Francisco. But now, Northern California is home to the latest mass shooting in the United States. The search for the suspect didn't last long. The accused shooter was spotted sitting inside a maroon SUV outside the San Mateo County Sheriff's substation as reporters were gathered for a briefing. The sheriff's office released this photo of their suspect, 67-year-old Chun Li Zhao. The Half Moon Bay resident is accused of killing 7 people and wounding another.
And a semi-automatic handgun was located in his vehicle. Zhao is believed to have acted alone, and there is no further threat to this community.
The crimes expand across 2 locations in unincorporated San Mateo County. The first call came in around 2:20 Monday afternoon along Highway 92, where deputies found 4 victims shot and killed. A 5th victim was airlifted to a local hospital. That person remains in critical condition. Sometime later, less than 3 miles away, 3 people were found dead near a farm.
There were farm workers affected tonight. There were children on the scene at the incidents.
Governor Gavin Newsom.
And that's why I say a lot of these things be ritualistic in nature. And what's always frustrating about these cases, playing couch detective, is you never get all the evidence. Even with the other case with what's his name? The name escaping, the Idaho killer, Brian Kohlberger. They finally came out and admitted that they had used his social media to help find him. And that was my prediction from the beginning. Because social media and these people's computer search history, these things are dead giveaway nowadays. But with a lot of these type of cases like this, especially these ones, you never get all the evidence you need about why, who, what, when, where, and why. Sometimes when you go to case and it's not ritualistic, you might get a little bit more evidence in what happened. But when that be ritualistic in nature, and it comes from a higher up place, you never ever get the answers. Whether it be that shooting that was in Chicago with the young man who did, I think it was a suburb of Chicago, I forget the name of the city, or the one in Uvalde, Texas. You never get these people's social media site to see what's really going on. Man, it's frustrating. You'll never get to see with these people exactly why they did what they did.
Newsom sent a message on Twitter as he was in Southern California meeting with the man who helped stop the shooting suspect in the Monterey Park massacre that left 11 people dead Saturday evening. It reads, quote, "At the hospital meeting with victims of a mass shooting when I get pulled away to be briefed about another shooting, this time in Half Moon Bay. Tragedy upon tragedy. The Gun Violence Archive defined..."
And let me say this again. You have the Lunar New Year, Half Moon Bay, on a Monday, which is the moon day. Come on, you guys. Come on now. I mean, if you're looking for any more evidence of correlation, I'm going to say it again. The Lunar New Year, you also have Half Moon Bay, and on a Monday, which is the day of the moon. Ritualistic.
...to mass shooting as 4 or more people killed or injured in a single incident. By that definition, this now marks the 38th mass shooting in the United States since the start of the new year. Despite California being home to 4 deadly mass shootings in 2023, Newsom stands by the state's gun policies.
Gun safety saves lives. California's laws have saved lives. 37% lower gun death rate in the state than other states.
But some say it's not enough, like this mourner named Hilda, who left a note and flowers outside a growing memorial for the Monterey Park shooting victims. It reads, "Stricter gun laws."
The problem with that is that stricter gun laws don't work. Chicago has stricter gun laws, and they have more shootings than anybody. Stricter gun laws does not work because if you're a criminal, you don't care about no fucking gun law. So basically what you're doing is you're going to take the gun from law-abiding citizens who want to protect themselves from all these nut job lunatics and psychos out here, and then leave these people empty-handed. And basically you ain't nothing but a lamb or a sheep waiting to be slaughtered, man. You ain't nothing but a cow at the slaughterhouse. Nobody wants to be that.
The governor vowed to assess gun regulations to find any holes and says he will do this regardless of what he calls opposition from Republicans.
And you see, the guns that they showed on the wall was basically all AR-15s. Take a small look again. Small gander.
It reads, "Stricter gun laws." The governor vowed to assess gun regulations to find any holes and says he will do this.
And as you can see on the wall, you have 1 AR-15, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they threw a little AK at the bottom. So you have 5 AR-15s, and like I said before earlier in the video, these are the guns that they want off the street. This is the reason why you're getting so many mass shootings. And this is the reason why I would say 90% of the mass shootings, you're going to get an AR-15 involved. That's how you know a lot of these things are being plotted, that a lot of these things are strategic, and that they just want to get these guns off the street by any means necessary. Using MK Ultra mind control. Everybody done seen the Manchurian Candidate and all that. I've already did videos going over MK Ultra mind control and some of the techniques that they use. And, you know, this is what they use to get these guns. They want to, you know, psychologically damage people till people just completely say, you know what? We don't need any guns anywhere at any time for anybody for any reason. And then they can implement the real laws, because once the people are unarmed and then everybody else is, then all the law enforcement and the government is completely armed to the teeth, then, you know, you can't fight it back against a tyrannical government. You know, you basically just, like I said, you're a lamb or a sheep waiting to be slaughtered.
Regardless of what he calls opposition from Republicans.
And they need to be held to account. And in the absence of their courage, their conviction to keep us safe, states like California will do more and try to be better.
The White House says President Biden has been briefed about the shooting in Half Moon Bay.
And, you know, it is what it is. That's, you know, the shootings in Half Moon Bay. Then you had the Lunar New Year Massacre. On a Monday, the Moon Day. Now, we have another shooting that happened here recently here in Oakland, California. It says 8 people were shot and 1 killed at a gas station. And they say it was a rap video being shot at the gas station. And there's no more dangerous job in America than being a rapper right now. And these video shoots, You have people rapping lyrics. I'm not saying this happened in this particular thing, but people rap lyrics about real life and about real situations and really people dying, and they really diss the dead, and they really tell you how they shot the dude and killed the dude. And so a lot of these rap videos, man, are prime targets for people who done had family members or homeboys or sisters, brothers, aunt. If somebody was harmed and you see these people over here making a video about it, you know, it's a target.
Out to Oakland, where 8 people were shot tonight, including an 18-year-old man who was killed. This happened shortly after 6 o'clock at a gas station at Seminary Avenue and MacArthur Boulevard in East Oakland. As KTVU's Amber Lee reports, family members...
And Seminary, that's a hood-ass little area. Yeah, that's some hood-ass shit over there.
Victims have been grieving right outside Highland Hospital.
Relatives of shooting victims gathered just outside Highland Hospital. One family received devastating news. Relatives emerged from the hospital visibly distraught and grieving. They identified the victim who died at the hospital as 18-year-old Mario Navarro of Oakland.
I'm heartbroken right now. I'm about to go see my family inside.
The shooting took place at or near a gas station on MacArthur Boulevard and Seminary. Police say they were alerted by a shot spot.
And in Northern California, Mexicans and blacks are a lot more close as far as, you know, dealing with one another, being friends with one another, growing up together. You know, Southern California, the Mexicans, they're a little bit more separated from the black people. Northern California, I went to high school in Northern California, even though it was some separation, but Mexicans and blacks still had some great relationships, you know, with one another. So even when in a negative way, it's still where there's gangs or whatever, you know, Mexicans can be part of black people gangs in Northern California, you know, with no problem. And, you know, most of the Mexicans in Northern California say nigga. I think a lot of Southern California Mexicans say it too, which I don't understand because they haven't been, you know, intertwined with blacks the same way. But Northern California, I kind of get it. I don't condone it, but I do understand it, going to high school with it and seeing it up close and personal.
Activation shortly after 6 p.m. Monday.
Upon arrival, they located a shooting scene, they located casings, but no victims. Shortly thereafter, our communications division received notification of multiple gunshot wound victims who self-transported to local hospitals.
Police say there are 7 other gunshot victims who are expected to survive. One woman tells me her sister is among those who were shot. Investigators collected evidence from 2 cars that may have transported the gunshot victims to the hospital.
It's really disheartening and difficult, you know, to deal with. But, you know, again, we're relying on community support to help solve this incident.
Police investigators say multiple people fired their guns, possibly from across the street. One relative says the teen killed had graduated from high school last year.
He was really sweet. He was a really, he kind of liked music, but he was not really bad person. He was really good.
Police say that...
I mean, she said the young man was really good, and that could be true. But, you know, young people tend to, you know, at that certain age, 18, 19, you could be one way around family members, and then when you ain't around family members, you're a goddamn fool. I'm not saying he was like that, but when you say people are good, you just don't know what he was out in the streets doing or into or what he was a part of. He could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or he could have been one of these people who was out here cutting up, acting a fool, shooting at people, dissing people on the internet. You just never know. But, you know, the video shoots is deadly places for young people now. And being a rapper, one of the most deadly jobs in America. Let's take a look at this. I want to go to this video next. Now, this video said Atlas gets a grip. The reason why I want to go into this video right now is because eventually some of them fat, out of shape cops who have high blood pressure, who need health insurance, who get tired, who might have to call out, who can get sick, who could beat somebody, who can break the law, who could be having sex with one of the other co-workers. All of that type of stuff is going to come to the end eventually. I did a video on this before talking about RoboCops. Eventually these robots and law enforcement will be able to scan IDs, pull people over, ask questions. I mean, the artificial intelligence is at an all-time high right now. So let's take a look at this video and see what this robot can do.
Forgot my tools again.
You see the vertical on that thing? Look at that again. Fucking jump right up there. I know that robot heavy as hell. Now imagine having to run from one of these things. You have to climb the fence. This thing will be able to just jump smooth over the fence. And when this thing shoots a taser or shoots something at you, it won't miss. That's scary as hell. That's why they made all the movie RoboCop, Terminator. I mean, the list goes on and on about artificial intelligence and cyborgs and all that type of shit, man. They tell the truth in movies and TV shows, and they lie to you on the news or tell half truths or truths is only convenient. But most of the time, they're gonna lie to you. That damn right. And now this motherfucker's also an acrobat.
Such a show off.
Damn, celebrated like Tiger Woods. Boston Dynamics. They've been working on these robots since I was a kid. And they're getting better and better. And the shit that they show you on TV, that means they're 3 times farther ahead. You know, what we get is some shit that this shit from 5, 6, 7 years ago. Yeah, they further along than this. These things can do more. They're only going to give you small previews. They had the stealth bomber in the 70s. You didn't see that bitch to 89. So, you know, they're further ahead, and them are the future cops. These robots and shit, these artificial intelligence be flying these fighter jets, all type of shit, man, that's coming downhill. That's why I support them to vote locally and make sure when this shit come up that you can vote this shit down. But I think it's only inevitable. I don't think you can stop it. I really don't. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, man, supporting the channel. I'm Samuel Koppel. This is Sports Life and Politics TV. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on a Lunar New Year Half Moon Bay on a Monday ride. Peace.